The president just did it again. Biden contradicting himself and his own White House today after spending the weekend trying to walk back these comments on Putin's removal.
We will have a different future, a brighter future, rooted in democracy and principles, hope and light, of decency and dignity, of freedom and possibilities. For God's sake, this man cannot remain in power.
Mr. President, do you want Putin removed? Mr. President, were you calling for regime change?
No.
Wow. All right. But just hours ago, Biden claiming none of what you just heard him say is actually true.
I'm not walking anything back. The fact of the matter is I was expressing the moral outrage I felt toward the way Putin is dealing in the actions of this man.
Personal feelings, sir. Your personal feelings?
My personal feelings. And the idea that he is going to do something outrageous because I called him for what he was and what he's doing, I think is just not rational. Nobody believes we're going to take down. I was talking about taking down Putin. Nobody believes that.
Okay, so Judge, it's our fault for we didn't hear any of that other stuff. We just heard him say he cannot remain in power. So that's on us. Of course he didn't mean it.
Of course he didn't mean it, because he knows that he's gonna dither and blather us into World War III. I mean, everything he says is being listened to by Putin, and Putin he's in a corner right now. When there's a stalemate in a war, you're in a corner. The question is, what is Putin going to do next? And the truth is, this guy is too dangerous to be the president of the United States. And what I want to know is, why does he say to troops just a few days ago, you'll see when you go in what the Ukrainian soldiers are like? Everything he says, someone comes back and they clean it up. What I want to know is the question that no one asks, and that is, who is issuing the order to clean it up? Aside from this thing, which could get us into war in 3 seconds, because Putin should be outraged and probably is, the question really is, when it relates to CDC, when it relates to the Pentagon, who comes in and says, all right, everybody, we got to walk that statement back? Who is in charge in the White House?
It's President
Who is
Kirby.
the president? You know, but you know it's not Kamala. She's got fewer marbles than he does. So it's a very dangerous time for America, and 71% of Americans don't believe that he is equipped to handle this.
You know, Dana, I have an analogy. I haven't used one in a while.
All right, hit me.
President is like a contestant on Let's Make a Deal who always turns down the guaranteed cash and just wants what's behind door number 3. And it's always like a 25-year-old donkey tied to a rocking chair. He never makes the right decision.
You know, it's interesting. Kamala Harris might have had the better trip to Europe. Yeah. And she started sitting there thinking like, oh, hey, I don't look so bad now.
Yeah.
Now, the truth is, President Biden, by all accounts, a lot of people thought like he gave a pretty good speech. And the speech was written, and he gives the speech, and then he ad-libs the 9 words. Now, you ask a very good question. Who decided to walk it back? Because immediately we're texting. I'm like, oh, my God, I can't believe he said that. We know it because Putin in his mind thinks that this is going to happen. So that's why he's been using it as an excuse that you're so provocative. And then that hasn't been our policy. Jen Psaki has said it. Tony Blinken has said it. And then all of a sudden the president says that. And then White House staffers, anonymous, on background, tell the Washington Post, yeah, he really screwed up there. Then you have him today saying, no. What I meant was this. Now, he could have done that on the plane. What I would have done is said, we got a problem, sir. This is what they heard you say. Is that what you meant? No, it's not what I meant. Okay, I'm going to bring the pool, the reporters, into the conference room on Air Force One. You can do an on-the-record clarification or whatever they want to call it to him and put this to bed that night. Instead, they wait 3 days. They always do this. They wait 3 days till it's so solidified in people's minds, and now people are even more confused.
Piers, do you think this gaffe energizes Putin and his supporters because they want to believe it's about decapitation, about getting Putin out? So this just validates.
Well, that's why it's so fantastically dangerous,
yeah.
as the judge said, because what it does, it emboldens Putin with his own people, because he's been trying to sell them a message of, look, the Americans and the West want to basically take us over. What more evidence do they need now than the President of the United States on the record, on camera, in front of the world's media, representing NATO, saying, we've got to remove Vladimir Putin? That's what he said. We heard him say it. And this idea of him now walking back all the walkbacks. I mean, I can't remember the last time I saw a world leader who takes time today to walk back the repeated walkbacks of his own gaffes. And there are 4. You know, the minor incursion gaffe, which, by the way, probably gave Putin, along with the Afghanistan fiasco, the encouragement he needed to go into Ukraine. The chemical weapons gaffe, we're going to respond in kind. That means he used chemical weapons.
Right.
That had to be walked back. The ground forces gaffe, which you mentioned, and then the remove Putin from power. That's 4 times, 3 in the last week, where the President of the United States says something, then his people come out and say, that's not what he said, even though we've just heard him say it. And now he comes out and has a brass neck to look down the barrel of a camera to the American people and go, we didn't walk anything back. So not only did you not hear me say the original thing, but the walkbacks, which were then announced about what I said originally, they didn't exist either. In fact, we shouldn't have been walking back any walkbacks about the walkbacks. And if you can follow any of that, you're a better man than me. And what I find also about this, which is, I think, is really unsettling, the desperate ways that the Democrats and many of the quite liberal, skewed mainstream media go out of their way to try and defend this, go out of their way to try and portray this as commanding leadership, when the polls, as we just heard, are crashing to new lows, when confidence in him, in trust in President Biden, because of all these gaffes, is collapsing. They've got to get a grip of this, because if you can't trust a word he says, mainly because he can't even remember saying it, then there's a problem. This guy's the leader of the free world.
You know, Jesse, maybe this is a positive spin. Nobody really believes what he's saying. Like, even the world leaders are kind of, you know what, it's just, like, he didn't really mean, it's like they look at him like Forrest Gump at this point.
Okay. The media used to mock Reagan for being an actor. He used to work with chimpanzees. Not a traditional resume for a politician. But Reagan was considered the great communicator because he could get the script, show up on time, and deliver it with gusto and precision. Now, he was around the same age as Joe Biden is right now when he was president. We didn't have problems like this, like we're having now. Reagan would get up there and nail it, even off-prompter. He was steady. To your point, the White House needs an intervention because you can't have Kamala come away with less gaffes after a trip. And as a journalist, I can't believe I'm going to say this. Am I a journalist?
Not
I don't even
really.
know if I'm a
I would
journalist.
not say that, Jesse.
But I shouldn't probably say that. But
you've crossed the line. I'm going to have to slap you.
The White House needs to make sure Joe Biden goes up there, delivers the script on teleprompter, and walks out. Because you can't have us in a proxy war with Russia in Europe, him going off script. You're giving Putin a propaganda victory, and you're dividing NATO. So they either need to set aside longer time in Air Force One to drill into his brain, this is the message, this is what you say, and have him have a little discipline and confidence, and I volunteer to participate in those prep sessions.
Jeez, that's the solution.
I'm sure that would be very welcome.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.